All right, theme song in 3, 2. And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the late night show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Late Night Show podcast. Oh, I have to sneeze. For the website, podcast for the website, cbscomedy.com. Like I said, it's a website. Go there. I have a sneeze coming on. Quite frankly, also today is the second day of the Masters tournament. I will be turning it on my phone. I am so sorry that my attention will be a little bit diverted. Here's the thing. I tried to put it on here on the computer so I could just watch the computer. And turns out if you have a webcam active, YouTube TV goes black on the internet. So that sucks. So you'll see me intermittently looking down to my right. We got an episode of Late Night Lately. This is episode 61. I was working all week, so I only saw a little bit of late night until today, where I just smashed together so much late night stuff. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. So let's get on what happened. This week in late night. After Midnight had just a stellar week of panels today, which is crazy to me. They finally, it seems, first of all, I have issues with them reusing the same people way too often, which is something that they did in At Midnight days. But here it's ever more prevalent because they'll have somebody back a week and a half after they had that person. The shirt I'm wearing has it's from The Gap, and I like it a lot. I wish I got I think I'm also losing weight. It is it's a deep V. Anyway, the people this week they had were Melania Weintraub, Karen Sony. I'm not even looking at the names. I know by heart now. Kate Micucci, Tawny Newsome, I believe John Lovett, and Jared Goldstein. These next two people I'm going to name, I've interviewed. Jessica McKenna and Tone Bell. Taran Killam. Then they had one of the Sklar brothers, who turned out to be Randy. Esther Pavitsky. And Arden Marin. Not one person did I have to look for the names. Amazing. For Jared Goldstein, I was going to say Zach Oyama, but whatever. But it's amazing. That's great casting. That's great panel creating. And it stinks that this show is just going to go away because Taylor's true love is with stand-up. And CBS says, well, we can save some money. Oh my gosh. And then, as promised last week, Stephen Colbert had on the great Cory Booker. I don't want to say the great. I'm not. Like, come on. He was never nominated for president. He did run. He had on Cory Booker to talk about his this is an extended conversation, by the way. A 24-minute conversation. To talk about his extended stay on the Senate floor. The record-setting 25-hour speech. Oh my gosh. We have some insights into why he did it, how he did it. It's a wonderful interview. I'm sure you're going to watch it. I try to link to the videos that won't get the most views, but then again, there's something that just stands out to me that is so important. We also have another questionnaire, this time with Woody Harrelson. Michael Lewis, Jalen Brunson, and let's see, Cheryl Lee Randolph and Paul W. Downs all joined the couch as well. Scowl played a song. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are we getting a lot of music from late night? Not late night. I'm talking about late night in general. We used to get so many songs on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Now we don't get anything. On the Tonight Show, Jimmy had a busy week. On top of doing his busking thing again, this time with Ed Sheeran, which I feel like they did busking with Ed Sheeran within the last year. John Hamm was there, Hannah Berner, who's fiance or husband, I don't know. I interviewed a couple of months back, joined Paige DeSorbo, Patrick Schwarzenegger, Zarna Garg, Jason Isaacs, Rami Malek, Triple H, Gigi Hadid. Also, the song, and I cannot ever pronounce, K7 Real, and Paco Amoroso performed the song El Dia del Amigo in these muscle suits, and I thought that was very funny. The busking thing, as I mentioned, Bella Ramsey was there. Bella also popped out during the monologue to do a recap, and Adam Levine was there. Adam Levine looks strange with a shaved head. Moving on. Also, I wanted the video that I'm featuring is Tina Frimmel performed stand-up. She was great, and she was very funny, and I was on board with everything. She's fantastic. Check it out, Tina Frimmel. Next up, late night. We had this week. I'm gonna start with the video I'm featuring. Rachel Callie did stand-up. Now, here's the thing. How often do we get both Late Night and The Tonight Show featuring stand-up acts? How often do we get Late Night featuring stand-up acts? All right, now I can move on. Kit Connor, Tracy Ellis Ross, Walton Goggins, Sadie Sink, Lizzo, Tim Robinson, and Amanda Peet and Viola Davis were all the guests this week. We also brought back the White House press briefing, which is something that I feel like they don't do often, but when there's enough silliness in a press briefing, I feel as though that's when they lob it up for a desk piece. It was great. The audience was on board, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. The Tim Robinson interview is something that you should definitely check out. Every single human being on this planet should watch that Tim Robinson interview. Next up on Jimmy Kimmel Live, we had... God, it seems like they upload a lot of videos and no videos at the same time. Eric Andre, Masai Martin, Almost Monday performed. I do like Almost Monday. Whomever the music booker is for Jimmy Kimmel Live, my goodness, we have similar tastes. Megan Faye, David Alan Grier, who gave an excellent interview, also appeared. And then Melanie Linsky, who is a terrific actress. And if I've only seen a handful of episodes of Yellow Jackets, I started watching it during the first season and Gene Smart popped up. I started watching Yellow Jackets during the first season when it was during its first season. And it was just a little too heavy for me. And then I stopped. And then it's been on the list since, and I'm really good at avoiding story moments. I just realized I was looking for a story that I did not end up finding, but I will find it as I move into these next couple of things. This week, Jon Stewart talked to Rahm Emanuel on The Daily Show. Desi Lydic was the host for the rest of the week, and she talked to Mallory McMorrow and Olivia Munn, who did breast cancer advocacy, and she's also on the Apple TV show Your Friends and Neighbors, starring Sean Hamm, who's on Tonight Show. Ronnie Chang popped up doing a story about people rubbing their hands on the breast of statues for good luck and fertility. Troy Iwata talked to scientists bringing back the woolly mammoth, and Bowen Yang was interviewed as well. And Michael Costa did his Costa Doing Business, which is a tear on Mad Money, I assume. I can only assume. Then there was Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, who did a story on trans athletes. Now, I found an article that, unfortunately, was something that was, I guess, reference to me. What was I? I was on Google News or something. But take this credit as you will. So for the 42 minutes that John Oliver did a story about trans athletes, what occurred is, hold on, let me double check that. Okay. Oh, okay. That's why it was. Oh my goodness. See, I don't know if I can trust this story now because it does have bias in it. Why was this? Why was this suggested to me? Okay, I'll talk through it. Now, here's the thing. So I watched the story of the trans athletes thing that John Oliver, the story that he did, and given that I know I've spoken to one of the writers of that show. I even sent in a packet. Very true. I did send in a packet once. I also sent in a packet for Stephen Colbert. I know that they fact check like crazy. Now, again, I watched this episode, didn't Google a thing, not a single thing. I've never even typed in the words "last week tonight" on any search engine ever, because why would I need to search a late night show? I was Google News in all of its glory suggested to me an article from a website called Outkick, which I thought was a queer website because there's a website called like out.com. Is that what it's called? Yeah. So there's a queer website called out.com. In my mind, I thought they were the same website. But Outkick put up an article called Transgender Fact Checker for John Oliver showed obvious bias, purposely misrepresented information. Now, in all of my brainitude, I read this and I started believing the things that they were saying. And then I started doing, this is why I did this live, is because I started doing my own, I sound like one of them. I did my own research. I was doing my own research. And I found, and yes, I guess the fact checker is a person who is trans, but that's what that show does. For better or worse, that's what Last Week Tonight does. If there's a story about something happening in the black community, then they will have the lead writer for that week will be black. You know, the person leading that story, not the lead writer, the person leading that story. It's the same way that you would on The Simpsons. If there is a story about a Lisa and Marge story, and it's about two women, trying to connect with one another, they're not going to put one of the male writers on it. They'll have a woman writer take the lead on it, and then everybody else can chime in and throw in ideas and stuff like that. But this is what happens pretty much for everything and everywhere. When there's a team of writers, you're not going to focus on one person to do the entire thing or like the group to do everything. It's not collaboration all the time. That's what happens. So I say that because I was trapped by that damn story. That's one of my biggest issues with Google News. And this is something I usually say for the constitutionals, but Google News, I have an RSS feed on Feedly, feed.ly. And I love it. And I use it, quite frankly, every single day. However, it is curated for me. I have a news section, and that's got things like Axios, BBC News, and NPR, The Atlantic, and The New York Times. You see where I'm getting at? And then I have sports, ESPN, The Athletic. And then I have film and TV, New York Times, The Arts, Deadline, The Wrap, Variety, Billboard, Consequence of Sound. Then gaming, GameSpot, IGN, Nintendo Life, Xbox Wire, PlayStation Blog. It's like it's things like that in technology. There's things like that, and obviously that puts me stuck in this bubble. And so as a person who works in television, as a person who moonlights as a journalist and has done so for 10 years, whether it was at NBC, my local news affiliate, NBC, my local NBC affiliate, the Weather Channel, CNN, or my current freelancing gig. That's 4 different journalistic opportunities I've had in my entire life. I guess this C Plus Comedy is technically a journalistic opportunity. Yeah, I guess I'm technically a journalist. I'm a producer / journalist, but whatever. Who cares? The thing is, I'm more of a journalist than any of these damn TikTokers out there. The thing is, I like to go out and find different voices and also different sources for news. However, the problem is, I'm watching Justin Rose. The problem is with something like Google News, an aggregate like Google News, it's not like, Reddit where people are posting and you're saying like, I'm not on the r/Pokemon or r/Nintendo Switch subreddit and someone is posting something from a different website that you hope is reputable and then you see it. Google News is all these websites coming together that they say is fine. You're like, hey, just click into this and you'll be great. And it's a lot of times, shitty websites that I've never heard of that I dare not click a link to. Yet sometimes, just like what happened with that Outkick thing, I did. So even in it was like, as I was reading the article, I went, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay. And then when it took a crazy turn, I went, oh no, this isn't good. So we all make mistakes. Okay. Let's move on. This final one, this is the story that I want to talk about, the main bit I want to talk about. It's all about Josh Johnson. Nikita Richardson wrote a profile about Josh Johnson for the New York Times. And Josh Johnson also appeared on Kara Swisher's On podcast to talk about the things that he's been doing. Oh, God, I wish I didn't click that link. Josh Johnson, if you don't know who he is, he works for The Daily Show. He's a correspondent. He was a writer. I believe he is still a writer, but he's a writer, stand-up. And he is, quite frankly, at this point in time, one of the most heard and shared voices when it comes to comedic political commentary via social media. If you go to his YouTube page, you can see there's been one video a week for the past year and a half that are roughly averaging 25 to 30 minutes per video where he talks about current events. And a lot of it is just shooting the shit, truly. And it's funny. It's funny. So he'll talk about, let me go to the YouTube channel. So he can talk about the tariffs. Josh Johnson. He can talk about the tariffs. I can't type and talk at the same time. Oh. He can talk about the tariffs and it'll be right. And he's just regurgitating news, but he's also making it funny. And he's been doing this for a very long time. You can even see the trajectory from the first video from a year or a year and a half ago. And it's great. And audiences have really taken to it because he's young. He's got fresh ideas. Hey, look at this whippersnapper's young and he's got fresh ideas. Nikita even did the math. In 2020, she wrote this. The fact is that no other working comedian is currently releasing the equivalent of new stand-up specials at the same clip. In 2024 alone, Johnson uploaded the equivalent of 28-hour-long specials with his to his social channels and is on track to exceed that number this year, to the slight shock and complete awe of those who know him well. It's crazy. I'll see, I'm scrolling through the internet. I'm scrolling through the internet, and sometimes I'll just see people post a clip of him, which is just amazing to see. The only reason I'm saying I'm pointing this out and doing this is because I've talked to him twice. I've interviewed Josh Johnson twice. Once on the website when I was doing written down interviews. And then second, via the interviews, if you've never seen that, on youtube.com/C+Comedy. I interviewed Josh Johnson, and he was great. He remembered me, obviously. This dumb name, C+ Comedy. Oh, yeah, remember this, C+. You remember me, yay! All right, buddy, let's do this. Miss Richardson's, I'll just say Nikita. Nikita's piece is, it's great. You know, it captures the things that, if you're a newfound fan of Josh, then you'll see how Trevor Noah and the, I guess, current host of The Daily Show, Jon Stewart, have to say, what they have to say about Josh. Jon Stewart is not known to like people of color a lot. Remember the Wyatt Cenac thing? Just saying. Josh is great, and I urge you to check him out. There are no... and at the same time, I forgot to mention this. Olivia Munn popped up during, again, she was on The Daily Show to talk about breast cancer awareness and the Apple TV show Your Friend and Neighbors with Desi Lydic, but she also popped up during that her monologue, Desi Lydic's monologue. Nikita writes, so where does Josh go from here? The thing is, there is something new. I am watching golf. There is something new. There's something new that Josh is doing, and he's really utilizing the tools of the internet and of social media in order to do so. It's like the job of the comedian has changed so much in the past 20 years. You can still be a touring comedian, because I've spoken to some as recently as, you know, this month. You can still be a touring comedian, and that's very much possible. But the big part about it now is social media. And how you use social media is very, very, very important. And as much as I hate social media, how you use it is going to make or break you. You can't be organic anymore. Josh was already a comedian, a working comedian, when he was posting these videos. And he was also working on The Daily Show. If you remember, he also had a podcast with Dulce Sloan for a little bit under The Daily Show moniker. So it takes time. It's not going to be as organic. And when he posted that video, I mean, I'm sure like when he posted his first, 20-minute video talking about current events, he didn't think it was going to be the biggest thing in the world. Otherwise, he should get help, because that's the same thing to do. But lo and behold, if you go back to his YouTube and you scroll through, you can see stand up, and then boom, that first video, millions of views, and the next ones all have the same numbers, because it's so prescient to now. It's they are of the time now, and people want to find more people that sound like them, and they're willing to listen to more. And if they're funny, who boy? I mean, come on. You can bring that late night voice to the modern day, to a crowd right in front of you. As opposed to, there are other comedians who do their crowd work thing, and I'm not knocking them. That's not really writing jokes. That's not really being naturally funny. That's just trying to find something and then working from that. Josh is great. Check him out. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see some things. It's not up right now, but you can, at some point it'll be back up. If you want to see a video version of this show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. That is up, baby. Where you can also see a video version of the other shows, the Constitutionals podcast, which is the entertainment business news podcast, as well as LinkedIn Logs, which is the jobs podcast. You can subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the interviews where I've interviewed great people like Josh Johnson, all on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Follow us on social media, TikTok, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram at C Plus Comedy, me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Bye.